Hey, welcome in. Look, if you're gearing up for the FE civil exam, you already know the deal. Literally every single point counts, right? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to crack open page 2 of the FE Civil Safety Reference Handbook. I've got 3 absolutely essential FE exam safety tips that'll help you lock down guaranteed points on test day. We're talking critical hazardous material classifications, job safety procedures, basically the whole shebang, so you can walk into that exam room feeling completely confident.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with Tip 1, Job Safety Analysis. Then, Tip 2, the Hazard Diamond. After that, Tip 3, Special Hazard Symbols. And we'll wrap it all up with some final practice and review.
All right, let's hit Tip 1, Job Safety Analysis.
So this is a foundational concept on the exam. It's basically a highly systematic way to analyze workplace activities to make sure everyone stays safe on site. At its core, a job safety analysis, or JSA, is exactly what it sounds like. You're analyzing a specific job for safety hazards. Now here's a massive tip for the exam. Do not get tricked by the alphabet soup. We all know engineers kind of love their acronyms, right? Well, the exam might actually try to trip you up by calling it an activity hazard analysis, an AHA, or a job hazard analysis, a JHA. Seriously, don't let it throw you. It's the exact same method, just different letters. Just file those alternative acronyms away in your brain.
The whole idea here is wonderfully simple, but you absolutely have to know the sequence. I want you to treat this 4-step memory sequence like a mandatory cheat code for the test. Ready? Job, steps, hazards, safe method. Let's do that one more time to really lock it in. Job, steps, hazards, safe method. You take the overall job, break it down into steps, spot the hazards for each step, and then document the safest method to actually do the work. If you see a problem laying out this exact flow, boom, you instantly know you're looking at a job safety analysis.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact kinds of questions you'd ask during a JSA. The FE Reference Handbook actually gives us some great examples of the specific hazards you're hunting for. Like, could a worker strike against an object? Could they get caught in or between objects? What about muscle strain from pushing or lifting something heavy? Or, man, what if they're exposed to toxic gases, electricity, or even radiation? Instead of just staring at a massive construction site and vaguely thinking, wow, that looks dangerous, a JSA forces you to methodically ask these highly specific categorical questions for every single step of the process.
Moving right along, let's jump into Tip 2, the Hazard Diamond.
Okay, so this diamond, it's basically the visual language of hazardous materials, and knowing how to decode it fast is absolutely crucial for passing. The hazard diamond contains 4 positions, and each one represents a totally different type of hazard based on its color. For all my visual learners out there, let's lock in these mnemonics. Blue is health, so I want you to think blue body. Red is flammability, so think red burn. Yellow is instability, so picture an explosive reaction. And white, that represents special hazards. Say it in your head with me. Blue for body, red for burn, yellow for instability, and white for special. You got it? Perfect.
Now, what about the numerical ratings inside those colored quadrants? Well, for health, flammability, and instability, the ratings range from 0 to 4. So the really crucial point here is that a 4 is the absolute highest hazard level. Higher number, higher danger. A health rating of 4, that means the material can literally be lethal. Flammability of 4 means it can rapidly vaporize and burn like crazy. And an instability of 4 means it might actually detonate. Basically, if you see a 4, you are in the extreme danger zone. But on the complete opposite side of things, we have a rating of 0. 0 is your absolute lowest possible hazard level. A 0 for health means there's no hazard beyond just ordinary combustibles. For flammability, 0 means it simply won't burn under normal fire conditions. And for instability, it means the material is normally completely stable. So just keep that scale in mind. 0 is your baseline, totally chill level, and 4 is your absolute maximum hazard.
All right, I actually want everyone to slow down for a sec and pay really close attention here, because this is a classic FE exam trap. You absolutely cannot afford to mix up the red and yellow quadrants on test day. Red is flammability. Yellow is instability. Red is essentially asking, how easily can this thing burn? Yellow is asking a completely different question. How unstable or explosively reactive can it be? Definitely do not mix these up. A material could be super unstable but not flammable at all, or vice versa. Just make sure to keep red burn and yellow instability completely separate in your head.
All right, let's tackle Tip 3, Special Hazard Symbols.
For this tip, we're zooming in exclusively on that bottom white quadrant of the diamond, which actually operates a little differently than the other three. Unlike the blue, red, and yellow sections that use that 0 to 4 number scale, the white section uses specific letters. And according to the FE reference handbook, there are exactly 3 important designations you need to memorize. OX, which means oxidizer, that's the flaming circle, W, meaning water reactive, shown with the lightning bolt, and SA, which is simple asphyxiant, pictured as the crossed-out lungs. Let me repeat that because it is highly testable. OX for oxidizer, W for water reactive, and SA for simple asphyxiant.
Now here's a kind of peculiar but incredibly important rule straight from the handbook. It explicitly states that no other hazards should be listed in this white quadrant. It is strictly reserved exclusively for those 3 specific designations we just went over. So if a unique hazard symbol exists for a material, it actually must be placed outside the white special hazard quadrant. Definitely keep an eye out for that specific rule if you run into a tricky multiple choice question about where symbols go.
Okay, let's move to our final practice and review and see how this all builds together.
We've covered a ton of core concepts, so now it's time for a rapid active recall session to mimic the exam environment and make sure this is all completely locked into your brain. Here's your first FE practice question. Read it carefully. An engineer divides a maintenance activity into individual steps, identifies the hazards associated with each step, and documents the safest method of performing each step. What is this process called? I'll give you a quick mental beat to think about it.
Got it? The answer is Job Safety Analysis, or JSA. And remember, they could also call it a job hazard analysis or an activity hazard analysis. The massive flashing neon clue here was that sequence, breaking the job into steps, finding the hazards, and documenting the safe method. If you remembered our 4-part cheat code sequence, you absolutely nailed it.
All right, let's try question number 2. A chemical has a flammability rating of 4. What exactly does this indicate?
And the answer is, the material can rapidly or completely vaporize and burn readily. The huge takeaway for this question is remembering that 4 represents the absolute highest hazard rating you can get. In the red quadrant, which is flammability, a 4 means extreme fire danger. Okay, here is your third and final active recall question. Let's make sure you didn't fall for that classic FE exam trap we talked about earlier. Which part of the hazard diamond represents instability?
The correct answer is yellow. Let's do a rapid-fire review of the whole diamond just to bring it home. Blue is health, red is flammability, yellow is instability, and white is special hazards. If you have those color combos memorized, the 0 to 4 scale down, and you know those OX, W, and SA symbols, you have basically captured all the main exam-relevant info from this section of the handbook.
So we've crushed the job safety analysis sequence, we decoded every color and number of the hazard diamond, and we isolated those special hazard symbols. But here is the big question I want to leave you with today. Are you ready to spot these safety hazards, not just to pass a multiple choice question on the FE exam, but to actually protect lives in the real world of civil engineering? Because passing the test is really just step 1, right? Applying this knowledge to keep your future job site safe is where the real work happens. Keep studying hard, trust your prep, and I'll see you in the next explainer.